Welcome to another 10-minute review. So today we have Adam's animation. Adam is an administrator in my animation Discord, and he's been doing a brilliant job. And in this case, Adam actually created this piece or animated this piece live. And it was actually really nice to see because he did a stream and he answered questions from users and all that goodness. People enjoyed it a lot. So if you're not part of my Discord, please make sure that you join us because we're having a lot of fun. And you can see here, this is basically the animation feedback channel. And you can see here that Adam posted this animation a few days ago, perhaps. And that was pretty cool. You can see it here. People like it a lot, and people are a big fan of what Adam created here, and rightfully so. So we're gonna go ahead and analyze this piece for 10 minutes. And I think that Adam has a lot of things that he did well, but there's a lot of things that can be improved on. Now, before I get started, I have to take a little bit of moment to actually mention to you guys about my animation mentorship, because if you guys like this for 10 minutes, my animation mentorship is basically a much longer version of this. So this is basically a mentorship where I teach you one-on-one animation or give you tips, tricks, and basically review show reels, anything that you actually guys are either stuck on or you want to learn from. I have plenty of years of experience. I'm an animation director and I've been doing it for about 18 years. So I've learned a lot over the years, and I use my animation mentorship to kind of share that knowledge with all of you, and I try to make it as affordable as possible. So if you're interested, make sure you check it out, animation.harveynewman.com, and I hope to see you there. If you are on the fence, if you want to know more, make sure to take advantage of the 15-minute free call that we can have one-on-one as well. And you can ask me any questions that you would like about animation mentorship and what it entails, any questions, all of that stuff. It's really good. I'm speaking with quite a lot of people lately, and it has helped them to clarify a little bit more if it's for them or if it's not. It's all good. Cool. So having said all that, let me get into this Adam piece and let's analyze it. Let's put 10 minutes on the clock. Let me just get my handy clock here to make sure that I don't go above that time. 10 minutes on the clock, and let's do it. All right. So Adam, I think overall you did a really good job. I'm going to play it a couple of times so people can see it, and then I'm going to give you my feedback. Okay, really cool. So here's the thing. I think the things that I like here is that you actually have somewhat of a beginning, middle, and end, right? So the character is getting psyched right here in the beginning, in order to actually kind of get to that moment that she's like, I'm gonna do this. And then she starts running with attitude. She jumps, she makes the jump, and obviously when she goes over the ledge, she continues running off camera. So you kind of have somewhat of a beginning, middle, and end. The biggest thing that I can tell you, and I'm going to start with the big stuff, and then I'm going to kind of like talk about nitpicking things. But the biggest thing that you're actually missing here is basically adding character to your character so it looks as appealing as possible. And by that I mean, like, the audience, while looking at this, will start asking, why is she on the rooftop? And why is she running this way? And why is she jumping over the ledge? And what happens after she actually makes the jump, right? And at this point in time, it feels very much like the whole shot, you're just showcasing body mechanics for the sake of showcasing body mechanics. And that's good and well, but if you actually want to put this in your show reel, and if you want to stand out from the rest, you need to make sure that it tells a story, right? The character has a soul, right? He's thinking, he's feeling good, and he's telling the audience, telegraphing to the audience exactly what's going on. So here's what I suggest. I think that you need a little longer of a setup for your scene. So for example, here she's already in position to actually start running. And I think because this is such a big leap and she doesn't know if she's gonna make it, and also she might fall and die or fall and break something, right? It's an incredible big leap to do. And if it was any person out there, just to keep it realistic, you would think many times over if you want to do this, because this might be the end of you, right? So you need to sell that at the beginning of your animation. So perhaps start with a stand animation, right? And then get a little bit of acting. Maybe she's getting warmed up and then she gets into this position of like getting ready, right? Or she's in the position already, and before she actually puts the hands down, just like a sprinter, she perhaps is on her knees or maybe on one knee, and then she kind of like cracks the knuckles, looks forward, and psychs herself up, almost like taking in what's ahead of her. The audience doesn't need to see it. You can keep the camera this way, but for her, she's just looking forward and psyching herself up about what's about to happen, right? Just almost thinking, do I really want to do this, right? When she decides, yes, I want to do this, you want to show that animation, that transition into your animation, and then you actually go into the run, right? The mechanics of it all. So this goes for everybody. So make sure that there is a setup time. And in this case, because it's such a big motion, it needs a longer setup time to sell the motion afterwards, right? So you kind of have like the mechanics okay. Now, another thing that I would say is that also you need more keys for your breakdown. I know that you're still working on this piece, but in order for you to actually sell all the nuances, you need to add more in betweens. At the moment, your passing poses and your mechanics of the strides as you actually are going forwards feel very much linear, right? And it feels very much like the hands are doing the same things, the arms are doing the same things. You need to vary it a little bit to make sure that things are not twinning and it feels, organic, right? So if you add more keys, you'll start getting that organic feel for the whole animation. Now, when it comes to the idea of adding more keys, there is such a thing as adding texture to your animations. And for those that don't know, basically texture, at least to me, is a bit like, what is air? But adding texture to me is basically adding moments and things that you don't really expect, but feel natural and add more groundness to the character. And by all that, what I mean is that in your character, and that's the second biggest thing that you need to do here, is that you're just going through the paces of exactly what it would take a character to go from preparing to run, to jump, to then make it off the jump, and then going off. What you want to do is basically things like this. So you go off the run, you start running, that's fine. But what if perhaps the character here, like she does a slight tumble, right? Like she kind of slides her feet a bit more, right? So here towards the edge, maybe her foot is right here, and there's a moment that she just slides a little bit, right? It gives you that sense to the audience of what's happening, and then she makes it. Same thing here, all throughout this section here, while she's jumping, she kind of keeps the same pose all throughout, and then she grabs the ledge. There's a lot of animation here that can be added in order to add more flavor to the animation. So you can make her actually almost cycle her legs as she is bracing for that hold into the ledge, right? So that's another one. And most importantly, and this is the most interesting bit of your shot, and you should always look at what is the most interesting bit of your shot so you can put all of your effort in it. It's basically here. When she grabs into that ledge, like the fact that she's grabbing that ledge and then she's actually standing up and going, there's nothing interesting to it. I mean, this is just me being brutally honest, but it's just basically what the audience is expecting. She ran, she jumped, she grabbed, she leaped up, and then she continued running. What you want to do is keep people on their toes in an action scene like this. So what you can do is basically, as you actually do the leap and she's about to grab, maybe she doesn't actually make contact with both hands. She makes contact with one hand and then the other one falls down, right? And then she goes up. and then she puts the feet up, and then she goes up the ledge, right? And then maybe you have the feet, when she puts the feet up, maybe there's a moment that the feet kind of like she loses her grasp a little bit, and then she goes up again, right? This will have to be at least 20 to 30 frames longer, maybe. But it will give you time to kind of really sell that moment, that gold moment in your animation that you really need to sell, because that's the one that actually makes or breaks the animation. So you want to do that here. So add a little bit of acting. So a bit of acting in the beginning, bit of acting here, right? Just to sell that idea that it wasn't as easy as you actually thought. And then when she goes up, this is all good, no problem. Needs more keys, but it's all good, more detail. And then you need a bit more acting right at the end, right? Because if you are actually, making the jump as professionally as she can be, she could have done this 100 times, right? But the one that is entertaining is the bit that she almost makes it. So if she almost makes it, then she'll probably look backwards to see in admiration that, wow, I made it. And then she keeps running. And you can do all of that while in motion, right? You can do all of that, like she can actually step up here, right? And then while she's here, she can start looking backwards to what she has done and turn her body while her face, while her arms are around here, right? So she can actually do all of that while looking backwards and then moving forwards. Almost like I've done this many times, but this time was close. So if you can sell that idea of actually the character almost making it, and then when she makes it, she looks back and then she goes, so cool. Almost didn't, but I did it. Feel proud, set off, going to the next challenge, right? So this, you can get lots of reference of this whenever you see people doing parkour, right? There's a lot of like almost misses, and people then feel happy about themselves even though they've been doing it for many years. I think you can introduce that here. Now, besides that, and I only have about 35 seconds, let me just look at my notes here. Yeah, no, I pretty much covered it all, actually. So it's pretty good. I have 20 seconds to spare. There's a few things that you actually can do better. Make sure that your hands here, they are all interesting poses. If you actually block out your hands with as much detail as possible early on, you save yourself a ton of time later on whenever you're polishing. And then the face is incredibly important. And like, I don't see you using the eyes like all the time. Finished. 10 minutes are up. Sorry, Adam. Awesome work, man. I'm just gonna keep it there. I'm gonna like stop my timer, and that will be it. Let me just stop my timer here. Awesome work, Adam, and keep it up. I think this piece is gonna be really interesting if you add those elements, just missing a bit of acting, and it will actually make you a better animator if you make it the way that I mentioned. Fingers crossed, you'll enjoy it as well through it all. Make sure you actually hit me on Discord if you actually want any clarification on all the topics that we discussed here. And that's about it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you actually subscribe, like, and hit the bell button so you don't miss any more of my videos. I cannot go away without thanking my patrons, people that support me on Patreon. Make sure you go and check it out. I have lots of perks, and I do extra videos and extra behind the scenes videos so you guys can see. So if you're interested in that, go and support me there. Your support will be highly appreciated because it helps me a ton here in this channel to make it better for all of you. And don't forget to join the Discord server, submit your animations for feedback if you need to, and if not, then just join us so you can hang out, talk animation, and have fun. That's all I had for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next week, stay well, stay safe. Peace.